Abena was a girl born in a small village called Achim Inyanua, a dusty place where girls fetched water from the streams and cooked with firewoods. Though poor, Abena was tall, fine, and light-skinned. She looked like one of those women from music videos. Smooth skin, flat tummy, and legs like a model. Her father was a cocoa farmer. Her mother sold roasted plantain by the roadside. They were poor, not the kind of poor that you can hide with a smile. The kind of poor where school fees was a luxury. When Abena finished junior high school, her parents couldn't afford to send her to senior high school. The tears she cried that day could fill a bucket. But one afternoon, her mother came back from the market with news. Your auntie Afia in Accra says you should come and stay with her. Maybe she can help sponsor you to school. Abena's eyes lit up with sunrise. That night, she packed her small bag. The next morning, she boarded a rickety bus and said goodbye to the only life she had known. Life in Accra wasn't what she expected. Auntie Afia lived in a one-room structure, Kaswa, with her 3 children. The house was hot, the room was tight, but she made space for Abena. I don't have much, Auntie said, but I will try my best. And she did. She managed to see Abena through senior high school, sometimes selling her small properties to pay her fees. Abena never forgot that. It was in senior high school that Abena met Kojo. He was the school prefect of a nearby boys' school. Tall, dark, with a wicked smile that could melt any girl's heart. They met at inter-house quiz. He helped her carry her chair after the event, and from that moment, they became inseparable. Kojo was funny, charming, and bold. He wrote letters, bought her earrings from his small pocket money. And when she turned 18, he became the first man to touch her body. He was my first, she told her friends proudly. We will marry one day, but Kojo had one problem. He loved other women too. He flirted with almost every pretty girl in town. Abena cried many nights, but she still stayed. He's poor now, she told herself. Maybe when he becomes rich, he will settle. But Kojo never became rich. In fact, he dropped out of university and started a roadside mechanic work. She still loved him, but deep down, she began to dream of more. One Saturday afternoon, her friends invited her to a wedding at a big church in East Region. It was a beautiful wedding. The couple looked rich and happy. For the first time, Abena saw the kind of life she wanted. Silk dresses, air-conditioned cars, cake with golden writings. That was where she saw Kwambena. He was short, very short, with a round belly, not her type at all. But he came up to her after the reception and said, "Hi, you look like a peaceful person." She laughed awkwardly. She thanked him and walked away. He came back again with his business card. That night, he sent her 1,000 Ghana cedis airtime and called her queen. She wasn't interested. She didn't like short men, and she was still in love with Kojo. But after 2 months of calls, flashy gifts, phone credits and shopping money, she started to change her mind. Kwambena made his intention known to Auntie Afia. He bought her gifts and promised to take good care of Abena. So Auntie Afia called her one night and said, "You want to suffer with Kojo forever? That short man may not be handsome, but he has money. If he's good to you, marry him, and I'm sure you will never regret it." And so she said yes, not because of love, but because she was tired of suffering. Kwambena Okosu was a short man. very short, as earlier said, but his heart was tall, kind and wide. Everyone in the community respected him. He was humble, always cheerful and full of good advice. Kwambena was rich. He had real estate properties in Accra and Kumasi. He built houses for rent and owned water bottling company. He had workers, cars, respect. But what made people admire him most was not his money, it was his character. He was kind to a fault, gave freely, and never insulted anyone. Kwambena loved Abena so much and did everything she wanted. And eventually, they got married in a grand style. Their wedding was the talk of town for months. The man was very rich and the woman was extremely beautiful. People used to say, "Aye, this woman is too beautiful for Kwambena." But he didn't mind. He was proud of her. He loved her so much that he once said, "If Abena says jump, I will ask how high." After their wedding, they moved into their new 5-bedroom house in East Region. Her husband got her a very expensive car and opened a big cosmetic shop for her, and even employed workers to help her both at home and in the store. But unknown to Kwambena, Abena never loved him. She only married him because he was rich. It was after their marriage that she noticed that Kwambena's penis was very small. That made her resent him more. She pretended to love him, but in her heart, she detested him. She never enjoyed sex with him. After 6 months of marriage, she made the decision. I can't give birth for this man. I can't keep staying in this marriage without having fun. I don't want my children to look like him. She remembered Kojo, still poor, still handsome. She reached out to Kojo again in a container where he worked as a mechanic assistant. He was still struggling. He looked tired, but he was still handsome. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "I still want you." Kojo laughed. "You're married now." "Yes," she said, "but I don't love him. I married him for money." "Let's be smart." She told Kwambena that she had someone humble and trustworthy who could work as their driver. Kwambena, being the kind man he was, agreed, and that's how Kojo became their driver. Kojo and Abena started having an affair. She would tell her husband she's going to the store, but they would lodge in a hotel. And whenever her husband, Kwambena, was not around, they took that advantage and messed around the house. And that continued for a while, until Abena opened up and told Kojo her plans. "I want to have children," she said, "but the children will be yours." "Kojo, you know I love you." Kojo was a little bit scared. "What if he finds out?" Kojo asked. "He won't. If you truly love me, you will do what I say." "But I'm not ready to have kids now," Kojo said. "The kids won't bear your name, and there will be no burden of any kind on you." "Do you want my kids to come out looking as short as my husband?" "My husband have a baby dick," she complained. "I know, but I just feel it's too early. But I will do it because I love you, and you promised to help me with some money." Meanwhile, Kojo had another woman he loved dearly and wanted to spend the rest of his life with. He dreamt of getting married to her and relocating to the States to build a family with her. Abena consciously tracked her ovulation, avoiding any possibility of getting pregnant for her husband. She complained to her husband whenever she's ovulating so he won't touch her. Kwambena had no idea. When Abena got pregnant the first time, he danced in church and gave huge offering. He named the boy Yao, and the second child, Akosua, came 3 years later. Then the third child, a boy named Kwame. All looked nothing like Kwambena, but he didn't care. He loved them like his life depended on it. He changed diapers, paid international school fees, took them on family trips. Those children called him daddy, hugged him every morning, and kissed him every night. He felt like the luckiest man alive. Years passed. Abena wasn't done. She began plotting his death. If he dies, she thought, all his wealth will be mine. I will inherit all his companies, the houses, and my kids will inherit everything too. She started researching poisons that damage kidneys slowly. She bought one from a herbal seller in Makola and began putting small doses into his food and drink, especially when he returned tired from work. Kwambena started falling sick more often. He thought it was stress from work. Soon he was diagnosed with kidney problem and was placed on dialysis. His body grew weak and his eyes sank. Still, he smiled around his kids. Abena began dreaming about marrying Kojo once Kwambena died. But what she did not know was that Kojo never loved her. He had a young beautiful girlfriend in La Paz, a university student. That was the woman he truly cared about. He mocked Abena behind her back and told his girlfriend, when that mumu husband dies, she will inherit millions. Then we will finish her too. Kojo was only using Abena for money, comfort and pride. Even the children whom he knew was his, he never really cared so much about them. As Kwambena was being rushed to the hospital for another dialysis session, his second child also fell seriously ill. The doctor ran tests and discovered the child was a sickle cell carrier. Kwambena looked confused. But I'm AA. The doctor suggested they run a full genotype test on the whole family. DNA tests confirmed none of the three children were his, not even one. Kwambena felt the world collapse. He cried in silence for 2 days. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, asking God why. Then he confronted Abena. I never loved you, she shouted through tears. You're short. Your manhood is useless. I married you because you were rich. I gave Kojo the children because your blood is cursed. I didn't want kids like you. Kwambena's heart broke again, as if the betrayal wasn't enough. Now this. He told her to pack out with her bastard children. Abena ran to Kojo with her bag and the kids. She gave him her last savings, 20,000 Ghana cedis, so he could get them a new apartment. Kojo took the money and disappeared. He blocked her number, switched phones, changed SIM. He left her stranded in the street, broke and rejected, with 3 children to feed, one sick. That was when she realized that Kojo had scammed her. She had nowhere to go. With 3 children, who no longer had a father figure, Kwambena refused to look back, but the pain didn't leave him. He sat in his mansion, surrounded by toys and photos of the children who weren't his. The silence was too loud. The betrayal was too deep. His blood pressure was very high. His kidney was failing, and he had no family history of kidney disease. A senior nephrologist at the hospital, Dr. Ofori, called for a comprehensive toxicology screening. He told his team, something is not adding up. This man is not diabetic. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. Why is his kidney getting worse by the day? They ran advanced blood, urine and tissue tests. 3 days later, the results came back. Dr. Ofori called Kwambena into his office. Mr. Kwambena, he said gently, we find traces of a slow-acting poison in your system. The substance is common in some local herbal preparation, but in your case, it looks like you've been deliberately exposed to it repeatedly. Are you on any herbal drugs? Kwambena's hands trembled. His eyes welled with tears. Doctor, what kind of poison? I am not on any herbal drugs. It is a toxic root extract. It doesn't kill immediately, but over time, it will damage your kidney tissues permanently. Thank God we caught it early. The hospital took immediate action. They flushed his system with detoxifying agents, stopped dialysis and began him on IV therapy. His body responded positively. The doctor used modern techniques to help regenerate part of his kidneys, paired with strict diet, supplements and weekly monitoring. And within 6 months, Kwambena's health improved dramatically. He began to gain weight, walking without assistance and smiling again. He was finally discharged. The doctor handed him a file and said, "You survived what killed many in silence. Whosoever was giving you that substance meant to kill you slowly." Without time, Kwambena found strength again. He started therapy. He traveled. He reconnected with old friends. Years later, he met Nana, a soft-spoken widow with two daughters of her own. She wasn't after his money. She respected him, encouraged him and prayed with him. She wasn't perfect, but she was genuine. And for the first time in a long time, Kwambena smiled again. They got married quietly, no big wedding, just a small peaceful ceremony with true love in the air. And after some years, she gave him two handsome sons. Abena now sells tomato in Kanishe market. Her children still call her Ma, but they ask, "Where is daddy?" And she has no answer. As for Kojo, no one has seen him since. But Kwambena is living quietly, humbly, and finally happy. Because sometimes, after the deepest wounds, life gives us another chance to heal.